Identifying Opportunity in Emerging Markets. Basic economics indicate that emerging markets take in capital and labor and build their economy on selling and exporting the goods and services they are able to develop because of the financial and workforce development. That is the most simplified view. In most cases, the emerging markets need more than just financial resources and specialized labor. They also need business and manufacturing education, banking infrastructure development, transportation and communication infrastructure and improvements, etc. Where these industrialization support systems are missing, there is opportunity for foreign business to step in, help out, and make a profitable mark on the emerging market. Characteristics of emerging markets and the opportunities they create. There are a number of factors that impact how much any company needs to change its strategy from the status quo to penetrate an emerging market. These include, but are not limited to, political and social systems. For example, some countries disallow trade unions, which has a major impact on labor wages, and others practice very arbitrary asset pricing structures, challenging foreign countries to evaluate the value of partnerships. In countries where many languages, religions, or ethnicities, the process of bringing in new international business can be tricky, if not sometimes dangerous. Openness. It is generally accepted that penetrating an emerging market that has an open economy is easier than penetrating one that doesn't. However, countries that have open economies like China and India are also very resistant to multinational corporations and restrict travel into and around the country. Open markets can also be challenging because they develop their own mid-level and support industries very quickly, leaving less opportunity for foreign influx. Product markets. Most emerging markets don't have much of a demographic database. They simply haven't done much in the way of identifying target markets and their needs, desires, and purchasing power. This makes for a lot of opportunity for companies in this service sector, but poses challenges for others. Capital markets. Likewise, most emerging countries have very basic, sometimes archaic, banking and financial infrastructures. When companies go into these markets, they cannot expect to raise capital in these countries, so they must be adequately funded. Furthermore, developing a financial system as a foreign provider is typically quite difficult, but possible in most cases. Markets, culture, and environments are demanding. Deliver what is needed the way it is wanted and priced right. Companies often make the mistake of thinking that buyers in an emerging market will be happy with substandard products and services just because they've done without them. In fact, the opposite is true. These people want value for their very hard-earned cash. Furthermore, companies entering these markets must identify products and services that fit the culture, climate, geography, politics, and religion of its citizens. Although some items are universal, blue jeans, for example, are recognized but not necessarily appreciated worldwide, most are dependent on the unique markets of each society. There are high rates of immigration to the developed world. Set a goal to find out what they send home. Over $100 billion annually is made by foreign nationals working in other countries and sent back home. There's a great deal of opportunity in selling to these people to identify what products and services are in demand in their native land. This is both a niche market model as well as a market research tool. Markets are fragmented, create brands and high brand visibility for the market. If you look at a country like China, you might think it is a national market. In fact, it is a huge collection of regional markets. Once you have determined what the nation as a whole needs or wants, develop a strong brand identity, one regional market at a time. Most emerging markets have very few entrenched brands, so advertising and marketing yours will usually get traction pretty quickly. Populations are youthful and growing. Cater to young markets. Globally, roughly 1/3 of most emerging markets are comprised of populations under the age of 14. Because of this, multinationals need to look at what this market offers in the way of games, fast food, fashion, for instance, and plan to cater to this market for the long run. While countries like the U.S. have a significantly elderly market, in many nations, the elderly are cared for better by their families and need little, but the young want it all. There is limited income and space. Be efficient, compact, and focused. In most emerging markets, rural citizens are relatively cash poor, limiting both purchasing power and the scope to which they'll buy. Metropolitan dwellers typically have higher incomes and greater purchasing power, but may also limit how much they spend by choice. In these markets, it is a good practice to keep the pricing packages small and offer long-term, low-payment financing options. Unlike the U.S., for example, most emerging economies are cash-focused and use savings instead of credit. They are also disinclined to make large investments like houses in order to maintain liquidity. Infrastructure is weak. Make part of your business its own infrastructure. As we've discussed previously, most emerging markets face big infrastructure challenges on many fronts. Look at these markets as multiple opportunities for your company. You may be going into a market because it shows good potential for purchasing your product, but you may want to deliver and pick up some components of infrastructure development as well, such as building roads, improving sanitation, establishing market research, etc. Technology is underdeveloped. Find an aggressive technology solution. Solving technology issues in an emerging market might be both your business and your advantage. Often called leapfrogging, technology-driven companies can enter foreign markets and simply jump over and well beyond any legacy technologies that exist, effectively establishing both a technology service to the nation and a superior system for operations and communications. Distribution channels are weak. Develop your own, exceed at it, and offer it to others. Most developing nations struggle in the area of distribution because of technology and transportation deficiencies. As with other infrastructure solutions, managing this system can be both a benefit to your company as well as a new industry sector for it. Ideally, you should integrate everything that already exists into an innovative distribution system, thus solving your challenges while helping the existing businesses prosper and develop. Markets are changing rapidly. Create your own market. Before you go into an emerging market, make sure you analyze how you will affect it and how it will evolve. Not only will you need to keep up with its evolution, you should try and stay ahead of it, a leader in industrialization. Difficult to determine best business model. Replicate or adapt an existing business model in that market. Proponents of the value framework indicate that a company going into an emergency market should follow 8 steps in developing a suitable business model for that new market. Analysis of process, which is discovery, interact, transact, and satisfy. Analysis of transactions, spot buy, recurring, replenishment, dynamic. Analysis of participants, consumer, business, marketplace, applications. Analysis of influences, internal and external. Analysis of strategy deployed. Analysis of strategy managed. Analysis of strategy evolved. And summary of value provided by the business framework. Through this process, you can determine how to adapt existing models, develop an entirely new one, or use one that already exists effectively. Lack of market familiarity with company. Collaborate with domestic partners or go it alone. One of the decisions you need to make when entering an existing market is whether, as an unknown, you should establish yourself based on that being valuable to your business model, or collaborate with existing companies to get traction. In some cases, collaboration with domestic partner companies can be a boon. In others, it might dilute your brand. This concludes Business Training's video module, Identifying Opportunity in Emerging Markets. Thank you.